Twilight cloaked Sodom, a city of shadows, teeming with unseen sins. Lot, a man of faith amidst depravity, welcomed two strangers into his home. They seemed like men, yet their eyes held a celestial light. Urgency filled their voices. "Leave this city, the Lord's wrath approaches." Lot's heart pounded. He knew the city's wickedness. Was there any hope? The strangers, their faces stern, confirmed his fears. "Dawn brings destruction. Take your family and flee." Lot pleaded with his sons-in-law, urging them to escape the impending doom. But they scoffed, dismissing his warnings as an old man's delusions. Their laughter echoed in the deepening night, a chilling counterpoint to the angel's dire pronouncements. Lot knew time was short. He gathered his wife and daughters, their faces etched with fear. With a last desperate look at the city he called home, Lot stepped into the darkness, following the angels towards an uncertain future. The night pulsed with unseen terrors. Each rustle of leaves, each cry of a night bird heightened the sense of urgency. Lot and his family hurried through the desolate plains, guided only by the dim glow emanating from the angels. Behind them, Sodom blazed with 1,000 wicked lights. The air grew thick with the stench of sulphur. A low rumble, like the growl of a waking beast, vibrated through the ground. Lot's daughters stumbled, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. His wife, her face pale and drawn, clutched his arm, her eyes fixed on the city they were leaving behind. They pressed on, their pace quickening as the first rays of dawn painted the eastern sky with ominous hues of red and orange. The angels urged them forward, their voices filled with a terrible urgency. The sun climbed higher, casting long, menacing shadows across the desolate landscape. Lot and his family, exhausted and parched, finally dared to pause, seeking shelter in the shadow of a rocky outcrop. Lot's wife, unable to resist the pull of the past, turned to look back at Sodom. The city, once a vibrant testament to human endeavour, now lay shrouded in a thick black cloud. Smoke billowed into the sky, a grim reminder of the fiery destruction unleashed upon it. Memories flooded her mind, bustling marketplaces, laughter echoing in the cool shade of her home, the familiar faces of friends and neighbours. Could it be true? Was everything she knew gone? Lot watched his wife, her posture rigid, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon. He saw the conflict etched on her face, the struggle between the life they fled and the uncertain future that lay ahead. Part 4. Disobedience and Disaster. A sudden gust of wind, hot and sulphurous, swept across the plains, carrying with it the ashes of Sodom. Lot shielded his daughters, his face grim, his heart heavy with a premonition of disaster. "Do not look back!" The angels' voices, sharp with warning, echoed through the desolate landscape. But it was too late. Lot's wife, her eyes filled with longing and regret, stood frozen, her gaze locked on the smouldering ruins of her past. In that moment of defiance, the divine judgment descended upon her. A blinding flash of light split the sky. A wave of heat, intense and unforgiving, swept over the plains. Lot cried out, reaching for his wife, but it was too late. The light faded, leaving behind an eerie silence. Lot, his eyes stinging, his throat raw with unshed tears, turned slowly to face the spot where his wife had stood moments before. A pillar of salt, white and gleaming in the harsh sunlight, stood where his wife had been. It was a chilling monument to her disobedience, a stark reminder of the swift and terrible consequences of looking back. Lot stared at the salt pillar, his mind struggling to comprehend the magnitude of his loss. His wife, his companion, the mother of his children, was gone, transformed into a lifeless statue. His daughters, their faces pale with horror, huddled close to him, their sobs echoing across the empty plains. Lot wrapped his arms around them, offering them what little comfort he could, his own heart shattered. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, grotesque shadows across the desolate landscape. Lot and his daughters, their faces streaked with tears, their bodies heavy with exhaustion, made their way slowly towards the mountains. Behind them, the pillar of salt, a stark silhouette against the dying light, marked the spot where Lot's wife met her tragic end. It stood as a silent sentinel, a constant reminder of the terrible price of disobedience. Lot glanced back, his heart aching with a mixture of grief and anger. Why had she looked back? Why had she disobeyed the angel's explicit warning? The questions echoed unanswered in his mind. He knew he could not change the past. He had to focus on the future, on protecting his daughters, on honoring his wife's memory, by ensuring that their descendants would learn from her tragic mistake. Time, relentless in its passage, marched on. The pillar of salt, weathered by wind and rain, became a landmark, a grim reminder of the destruction of Sodom and the fate of Lot's wife. Travelers passing through the desolate region would pause, their gazes drawn to the solitary pillar, their hearts filled with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Stories would be told, passed down through generations, each recounting the tragic tale of Lot's wife and her fatal glance back. The pillar of salt, once a symbol of disobedience and loss, became a testament to the power of faith and the importance of heeding divine warnings. It served as a stark reminder that even in the face of overwhelming temptation, one must never forget the lessons of the past. And so the legacy of Lot's wife lived on, not in the bustling streets of a forgotten city, but in the whisper of the wind across a desolate plain, in the shadow of a solitary pillar of salt standing as a timeless warning for all who dared to look back.